hard time not trying to sing to all these songs. Give me big arm swings. Good, switch directions. Good, open those legs up and give me a big twist. Both arms are nice and long. Keep your hips facing forward the best that you can. Perfect, reach across. Take it overhead. Back across. One more time, overhead. Bring those heels up. See if you can touch your butt. Perfect, arms up. Squeeze those elbows together and just step touch. Keep going, keep going. Now you're going to give me a squat and a push up to the ceiling. Really get those hands all the way up. Good, add those tippy toes. Give me two more. Now, give me a squat and a knee lift. We're going to stay with the squat knee lift, but your upper body's going to twist. Lower body stays exactly the same. Good work. 4, 3, 2, and 1. You're going to take one leg back. Get a big split here, like you're that in your warrior, but both toes are forward, down and up. Hands are either on the hips or they're on that front thigh. Give me 4, 3, 2, and 1. Switch it up. Come into that big split stance first. Toes are forward, and then begin. Good work. That front leg is doing a lot of the work. Give me 2 more. Beautiful. Bring those feet together. Take it down, touch those toes. Roll yourself up. Arms come to the ceiling. Give me a little bit of extension. Reach back. Good. Take it down one more time. Roll it up. Reach those arms up to the ceiling. A little bit of extension. Beautiful. We're going to go ahead and get our started. You're going to grab your weights. We're going to start with our biceps. All right. I want you to alternate those curls. And I want you to just, as you're doing your curl, bring your feet together so they're in your hip width apart. Perfect. Good. We got 4, 3, 2. You're going to give me a deadlift. And you can find your own pace. You can go faster than me. I want you to focus on your form, pushing those hips backwards. Good work. We got about 4, 3, 2. Finish that last one, and you're going to stay with your bicep curls. Both arms together. Get that full extension, and then all the way up. Good. No shoulder movements at all. Heads are lifted up nice and tall. Give me 4, 3, 2, 1. You're going to drop down to one single weight. You're going to bring those feet out farther, a little shoulder width or a little wider. Toes can be forward or slightly turned out. You're going to give me a squat and then a press. Squat and a press. Work. I don't know if you guys like shopping at the Goodwill, but I went there yesterday. And I was extremely surprised by like how nice some of the stuff is that's on the shelves. My friend and I are gonna make homemade candles. So I went looking for like teacups or some kind of, something fun to put it in. And I ended up leaving with a brand new pair of Merrill boots and another pair of it was ridiculous. You can't go there just for one little thing. Give me 2 more. Yeah. Really? Hold it right here. You're going to give me some rotation. So I want your hips to stay forward. I want us just to practice rotating without moving those hips. But I want you to pay attention. Are you just moving those arms or are you moving the whole shoulder? Keep the weight locked at your chest. Keep those abs tight. Give me 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now, we're going to open up our feet a little bit wider. Turn those toes out. So now we're in kind of like a plie or a sumo squat, right? So as we do this, your knees should be tracking with those feet, and your hips are pushing straight to the floor. You're going to drop down the arms, and then bring them back up. Take it down and up. If you want to do a little bit more here, you can engage those inner thighs by just squeezing them together. Squeeze. Good. Now here you should think about head stacked on top of shoulders, stacked on top of hips. All right, everything's nice and tall. Good. Give me 4, 3, 2. Now I want you to pulse it here. You're going to take it down, down, up. Down, down, up. Down, down, up. Perfect. That's it. Keep that body tall. Good. Give me 1 more. And this time we're going to hold it down. Open up those knees. 4, 3, 2, and release. If you want to get a sip of water, grab it. When you come back, I want you to bring your light weights. We'll do some of our shoulder work. What was that? I like going to the Dearborn. Over by the stadiums, you know where that's at? Oh yes. Oh yes. We're gonna start with our hardest first, is the W W's and the high V's. You're gonna hold those weights close to the ribs and you're gonna press up at this high V and then bring it back down. So I heard somewhere that Dearborn Goodwill is the largest in the country. The country? Jeez. And we're lucky to have it here. Woo! Yeah, any kitchen stuff you ever want. I've gotten so many really nice cast iron. You like cast iron pieces there. Give me 4, 3, 2, and 1. We'll go into our internal external rotation right here. Give the shoulders a little bit of a break. Alright, we're going to hold it right here in the center, and we're just going to do our press out. You're going to keep the elbow, or the shoulders are going to extend or flex. This is flexion. Elbows slightly extend, but don't fully. Good, just pushing. Kind of like you're serving. You like this? You like it? No? Okay. And? Yeah. I'll keep it. Give me 4, 3, 2, 1. Shake those arms out. We're almost done with our shoulder work. Your palms are going to be facing each other. You're just going to take it straight up and then straight down. Now it's really important that you keep your shoulder blades pulled down your back at this point. So pull them down and then lift. Perfect. There it is. Good. Good. And our palms are facing each other this time. So that hand, yeah, there we go. Perfect. Stay with me. We got about 5, 4. Hold those shoulder blades down. 2. Finish this last one. Nice job. Set those weights down. Before we completely end with shoulder work, let's everyone have their arms up in this field goal position. Keep the elbows where they are. I want you just to drop down into external rotation as far as you can, and then up, bring it back as far as you can. So this elbow never really moves position. Just going as far as you can in internal and external rotation. You're just challenging your own motion right here. Hit your endpoints and then return. Don't forget to keep those shoulder blades down your back. Good. So it's just like doing this, right? Only we're at a different angle. Give me 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now we can shake those arms out. All right, we're going to go back into our lunges this time. So grab your weights. They're just going to hang at our side. We're going to go back, just like in our warm-up, we're going to do our static lunge. You're going to keep the same leg down and up. Now, before you start, I want you to roll those shoulders backwards. Keep them there the whole time. We're going to stay nice and tall in this lunge. Good. Good. Make sure you have a nice big step backwards. You've got lots of space for this back leg to bend as well. Keep the heads up and shoulders back. Roll it back. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's switch to the other side. Big step, just like in warm-up. Shoulders roll back and begin. Good work. Last 4, 3, 2, and 1. You're going to drop down down to one single weight that you can lift overhead. We're going to do a lunge, and then we're going to come up to a press. We're going to stay with the same leg, so the right leg is going back. The weight is at your shoulder. Stand up and press. Down, press. Now, if you want a little bit extra, this leg can come up to a knee lift. It can come up to a kick. So you challenge yourself. Make sure this arm is pressing all the way to the ceiling, all the way up. Now, in your back lunge, the weight is in the front leg. Slightly leaning over that front leg. Get a good stretch of your glutes. 3, 2, get one more in. Switch sides. Here we go. Now remember, you can go faster than me. Good, keep the weight right at your shoulder. Lunge, and then press. See if you can do a big step back. Good work. That's it. Yes, those are beautiful. Don't forget to press that weight. Press. Good, I see a lot of knee lifts. Way to challenge yourself. We're going to finish up here, last 4, 3, 2, give me one more. Woo! All right, grab yourself something to drink. When you come back, we're going to work our triceps. Oh. All right, we're going to start with our kickback. So you're going to have one weight in each hand. And then go ahead and begin. Once you're in position, remember your abs are tight and your shoulders stay locked in place. Good work. So I have a cute little cat named Nyla. And last night, I didn't sleep at all because every time I rolled over, she was like laying right next to me. So I was smushed between my husband and her. And she would just like look at me and go back to sleep. And then every time I turn around, I get a face full of fuzz again. Oh, it was horrible. I kept waking up like, it must have been like almost every hour. Give me 4, 3, 2, 1. You're going to take this up and overhead. Now here's your option. You can keep both weights and just put them together like they're glued. Reach up and drop down. Or you can drop down to one weight and just hold it between your hands. All right? Choose what feels the best. We've got about 20 seconds of overhead triceps right here. Your goal is to still get that full extension. Keep those abs tight. Perfect. See if you're going to get those elbows to extend. If this bothers you for any reason, go ahead and stick with your kickbacks. We've got about 10 seconds left. Last 4, 3, 2, get one more in. Beautiful. Shake those arms out. I like those ones because they give you a little bit extra stretch of that tricep. Incorporate more muscle fibers. All right, we're going to go back to some squats. We're going to do our open squat. You're going to do an open squat, and then you're going to do an upward row. So I want you to be able to do the upward row in the middle. You're going to open. This is a basic squat right here. Bring it in, pull it up. Squat. Now, even though we're opening up, doesn't mean that you put more weight in that lateral leg. Keep it right in the center like a basic squat. Good. And again, you can find your own tempo if I'm going too slow for you today. This is what happens when you don't get good sleep. Make sure this upward row you lead with those elbows. Pull them up. Keep the weight close to the body. We're gonna do 2 more. There's 1. Here's 2. We're gonna hold it right here. Upward row. If the shoulders are tired, you can always single arm row. Give me 4, 3, 2, and 1. Woo! All right, we're going back to these light weights. We're gonna do our lateral raises. We're gonna add on to this though. We're gonna do our lateral raise with horizontal adduction. And then we'll open and back down. All right, start with this lateral raise and then we'll add that on. Here we go. Lift and lower. Good work. 4, 3, 2. We're gonna add that adduction. Here we go. Take it up, center, open, and down. Now, if it feels like too much, you're welcome to single arm, right? You can work one, and then the other. That way you get a little break for that other side. Choose what feels the best for you today. Keep the shoulder blades down your back. Give me 4, 3, 2, and 1. Shake those shoulders out. Woo! Oh, this song is for Bill. They're singing happy birthday!
Is it your birthday?
Yesterday!
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah! I just put this in the playlist. Didn't even realize it would be perfect timing. Front raises, here we go. Again, single arm if you need to. Give me 4, 3, 2. Now we're going to add on. We're going to do that abduction. Open, close, and down. Now double check those shoulder blades are down your back. Perfect. If the weights feel too heavy, drop them. You can do all of this just through your own range of motion and gravity. Happy birthday. 4, 3, 2, and relax. Woo. All right. Stretch out those shoulders. We're going to go back into some leg work. This is going to be our lateral leg lifts. So if you want to have weight and just rest it on top of that thigh, please do so. All right, I'm going to have a weight. I'm just going to put it on my thigh. I'm barely holding on to it because I want it to be resting on my leg. My other arm is out. Maybe you're holding on to something. That works as well. We're going to lift and lower. Now, your goal is to keep that toe facing forward because if you turn it up to the ceiling, it changes the muscles we work, right? All right, see you later. Have a good weekend. Good song, good chance that song played just before he left. Give me 4, 3, 2. If you have a weight, I want you to switch to the other hand. We're just gonna hold that leg up. We're just stabilizing right here. Lift and hold. Keep your eyes on that focus point. Have a good weekend. 4, 3, 2, and relax. Woo. Let's do the other side. Go ahead and begin when you're ready. You get bonus points for those that start early. Good work, good work. I think it's important to practice our balance, but sometimes when we're doing exercises like this, it's okay to hold on because I want you to be able to get the full contraction without worrying about balance. 3, 2, let's switch it, hand weight over, lift and hold. You're welcome to keep the weight on here, but what I would really like is you to get that leg up as high as you can. Pull, pull, pull. Lift, lift. You got 4, as high as you can. 2, and 1. Good work. Woo. All right, you guys, we are actually going to hit the mat because we got some more glute work more work on our glutes to do. Ooh. No, well, you can have weights. If you want it, we're going to do some bridges. So if you want to have weights on your hips for bridges, bring the weights with you. Oh, this used to be one of my favorite songs. All right, so you got your weights for your hips, or no weights. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to put your heels on the floor and your toes are up. You can kind of play with the distance between where your heels are and your butt. So feel it out. You can put them closer or farther. You want it to be comfortable for your knees. And you want to be able to get those hips up. Good. Now, if you just have weights, they're just resting right on your hip bones. It's a little bit of resistance. If it's stopping you from your full range of motion, take those weights off and just focus on your range of motion. Good. We only have about 10 more seconds here. Don't you give me no dirty looks. 3, 2, and 1. You're going to come to a single leg bridge. I'm going to remove my weights for this one, and I'm going to put one leg in the center of my body. The other one's going to cross over like figure 4 stretch. And now I've just got my single leg bridges right here. Now my heel is still digging into the ground and my toe is up. So my toe is up and my heel is down. Good. If it bothers you in your knees, you can adjust the distance of your heel to your butt. Give me 4, 3, 2, and then just to make sure that our glutes are feeling it, I want you to hold this last one up. Hold it, hold it. Really press into the floor and drive those hips up. Those 2 counter movements. Hips up, heel goes down. Push, push. 4, 3, 2, and then release. Good work, switch sides. Once you are set up, go ahead and begin. Good, make sure you're challenging that range of motion. Really push up as high as you can. Last 4, 3, 2. On this last one, you're gonna hold it up there. Again, you're pressing into the floor. Hips are driving up. Give me 4, And release. Good job. All right, little stretch if you need to. And then you're gonna flip onto your belly. All right, so the goal for this next one is we're gonna do some push-ups, but we're gonna do push-ups and extension. So every time you do a push-up, you're gonna start from the floor because every time you come down, you're gonna lift up, do your extension, and then you'll come up into your push-up. You'll come down, do your extension, and then back to the push-up. Okay, alternate between those. Here we go. Now make sure with your extension that your thighs lift off the floor. Give me 2 more. And then your last one, you're just gonna hold your extensions up and down. Try to make them nice and smooth. 4, 3, 2, and 1. If you like to sit in child's pose, you can do that. Stretch out that low back. And then you're gonna come to all fours. All right, so what we'd like to do here is do our bears. That means you're gonna tuck those toes, and you're gonna lift those knees off the floor just slightly. All right, your knees should be underneath your hip. Ready? And go. Lift, hold. Now, think about your upper body. Make sure your shoulders are strong. You're pressing away from the floor. You're not sinking into those shoulders. In 4, 3, 2, and release. Quick stretch if you need to. We're going to do another hold. In 4, 3, 2, and lift. Now the way to make this more challenging is you can do shoulder taps or hand hovers. Give me 4, 3, 2, and release it down. Good job. I'm glad you took my challenge. We're going to come into a plank position. We're going to start out on our elbows. Now, I'm going to give you different options to add on. You're welcome to take it or keep holding your plank. So we're all in basic to start with. Now, if you want to add on, we can do a jack saw. You're going to press forward and back. Just rocking forward and backwards on those toes. Keeping that core really tight. Don't let your hips lift the ceiling. Stay flat as a board. 3, 2, hold a basic plank. If you need to tap down and rest, you're welcome to do that. Good work. If you'd like to add on, we're going to do our dolphin. You're going to push those hips up to the ceiling and then back down to your plank. Again, you're welcome to stay in a basic plank, or you're welcome to add on. Good work. Give me 4, 3, 2, and go ahead and relax all the way down. Well done. And then we're going to flip back onto our back. All right. back, and it feels so good. All right, we're gonna start this with our lower body. Look at our hips and our abs. I want you to bring those legs to tabletops, tighten up your core, put on that corset, and then I want you just to do your bicycle legs right here. So your goal is to focus on keeping those abs really tight as you extend those legs in your bicycle movement. Make sure you're still breathing. Give me 4, 3, 2. Bring those legs to tabletop, hold it. Make sure that your back is not arching off the floor. If it is, go ahead and stop and reset. Come back to this tabletop position when you're ready. Give me 4, 3, 2, and 1. Extend those legs, and you're gonna do single leg drops, alternating. Keep that core really tight. If you need to stop and reset, please do. I want you to pull one leg towards your face as the other leg goes down. Pull it in. So then we're actively using those hip flexors. Good. 3, 2, and 1. Give yourself either that full big hug or a full body stretch. Whatever feels the best. And then your feet are going to go flat on the floor. And you've got a basic crunch. You can either have hands reaching towards the knees to kind of help get your shoulders off the floor, or hands behind the head. Choose what works the best. If you find that hands behind the head, you start to pull your neck. You can switch them to the front of your body, hands on your shoulders, or you can reach to those knees. Really focusing on those rib cages pulling towards your pelvis. Give me 4, 3, 2. Finish that last one. Bring those legs back to tabletop. Hands behind the head. And you're going to crunch it up. Keeping those legs in tabletop. Think about what those ribs are doing. Those lower ribs. Give me 4, 3, 2, and 1. Put those feet on the floor. Take a couple breaths. We're going to end here with our bicycle crunches. Ready? Let's go. This is your last exercise for the day. Hopefully not for the weekend. Keep breathing through this whole thing. We got about 15 seconds left. Last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Full body stretch right into a spinal twist. Doesn't matter which side you do, bring that knee in and rotate. Now as you do this, I want you to stretch your arm and just try to find the best stretch. So move the arm up and down so you can get a stretch of your chest. Good, let's bring it to the other side. And see if you can stretch that arm, move it up and down, see where the best chest stretch is. Bring yourself center, and let's do our figure 4 stretch. Good, let's take it to the other side. And then go ahead and release, and we'll sit all the way up. And let's bring the soles of those feet together. All right, so remember, you get the best stretch of those inner thighs the closer your heels are to your body. And then you can just try to actively push those knees down to the floor. And then take your right foot out. We'll do a seated figure 4 stretch right here. Drive that knee down, rotate towards that long leg, and give me a stretch here. Perfect. And then let's go to the other side. So when you're stretching at home on your own, you want to hold your stretch somewhere around 10 to 30 seconds. You know, it gives your muscle enough time to relax. Mostly in class here we do our 10-second hold or so. But at home, if you can just stretch a little bit longer, then your muscles will get used to that and they'll relax and allow the stretch. Good, come on up, and we're gonna open up nice and wide. Now, I want you to be sitting up really tall here, so if you find that you're in this roll back position, see if you can just tuck it in and sit up tall. Maybe this is as far as you can go. If you have more flexibility, I just want you to walk your fingertips down the middle and just go down as far as you can. Drive those knees to the floor. Good work. And then walk yourself back. We're going to come to our kneeling positions. We can stretch those hip flexors. All right. So everyone's kneeling. That knee should be right underneath that shoulder, hip, knee. You can reach up at this point. You can tuck those hips in, pull those abs in. If you still feel like I need more, you're going to lean into that front leg. Good. And then go ahead and release. We'll do the other side. Again, find your positioning. I find that one of my hips is always tighter than the other. For as long as I've always been able to do the splits only on one leg. My hip on the other side is just too tight. Good, go ahead and release and come to your forward fold. And then you'll slowly roll it up. Open those legs wide. And I want to get a side bend stretch here. I want you to take this top arm and I want you to actively reach it so it's actively stretching. So don't just keep it right here, but really reach, 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 reach. Good, just go to the other side. Good. You can stand all the way tall. Bring the hands behind. Good, great. Shoulder stretch, bicep stretch, maybe even neck stretch. And then reach arms forward. We're gonna open up those shoulder blades. And then give me one more deep breath in.